So I was watching the movie Air the other night. That is the story of Michael Jordan and Nike signing the contract, Michael Jordan signing the contract with Nike. And there's a part of the movie that I thought was super relevant and how it actually relates to our industry, a lot of industries, but specifically real estate. And, if you follow anything that I say, foreshadowing and expectations are everything in this business, right? Foreshadowing what's about to come, foreshadowing the next stage of the process, always being in step 5, even when you're in step 2. And there's a part of that movie that actually, to me, really equated to what you should be doing as a listing agent when you go on appointments. And let me kind of set the table for that. So Matt Damon is meeting with Michael Jordan's mom, Viola Davis, in the movie. And what he does is he sits her down, and according to the movie, Nike never really was going to have a chance at signing Michael Jordan. It was between Converse and it was between Adidas. And so Matt Damon flies to North Carolina and goes to Michael Jordan's parents' house because in his mind, he's getting Michael Jordan. And the grit and determination of Matt Damon's character I thought was incredible. But here's how Michael Jordan ended up signing with Nike. He sat down with his mom, and what he told her was exactly what was about to occur. And if this occurs, you should question it. And what he said was, when you go sit down with Converse, they're going to say this, 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 and this. And you deserve better than that. And then when you meet with Adidas, they're going to tell you this, 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 and this. How do I know this? Because I've heard it 1,000 times. Again and again and again. And if that's what they say, you should question it. Basically is the essence of what he was telling her. And guess what happened? She sat down in those meetings, and exactly what Matt Damon said that they would say, they said it. And it was a trigger. I call them seeds. But it was a foreshadowing of a situation and telling them to be leery if this happens. And what happened? She got leery. She started thinking, wait a minute, this is exactly what he said would happen, and it's happening right now in front of me. Because if he doesn't preface that, she goes into that meeting, and what they say is new to her. So she's accepting that information, and she's believing that information. What he did is he foreshadowed, if they say this, just be prepared. And so her guard was up, and they said exactly what he said he was going to say. And that triggered an emotion in her to say, maybe this isn't right for my son. And how this equates to real estate is just like when you're sitting at a listing appointment. I always say when you go to a listing appointment, you should be foreshadowing if the next person that comes in says these things or does these things. You should question it. Why? Because I know they're going to say those things. So for example, every listing appointment I went on, not only did I bring my marketing plan and everything else, of course you bring comps, active, solds, pending, and then your marketing plan. But what I always brought was a contingency plan. And the reason I brought a contingency plan is because that was my ammunition in case they interviewed somebody else, because I knew nobody else had a contingency plan. So essentially what I had was, look, this is our first 30 days of marketing. Now, I believe we can sell your home in 30 days if we get the right list price out there. But just like anything in life, if it doesn't go perfectly, we need to have a contingency plan. And this is the contingency plan. On day 31, we do X, Y, and Z. As we hit 5 weeks, we're going to do this. And I had a whole plan laid out of how we would recirculate, remarket, and do everything to get that home back in the market center, and how we were going to market the home because we didn't sell it within 30 days. Now, whether or not that marketing plan worked, whether or not it was even needed, that wasn't why I had it. The reason I had it is because it was something different. And I used that something different to tell my clients, look, here's the deal. If you decide to interview people after me, I have zero issue with that. But I always gave them pre-warnings of the next person. And one of the warnings I gave them is, and the one thing I really want you to pay attention to, Mrs. Jones, is that things don't always go perfectly. So what I want you to do is one favor for me. Whoever you interview after me to list your home, I want you to ask one simple question. What if this plan doesn't work? Do you have a contingency plan? And if they fumble their words, if they pause, if they don't say yes and here it is, just know this. They're just hoping that the right person sees your home. They're hoping MLS sells your home. That's not a proactive approach to sell someone's home. This is. And I left them with that. And so I know for a fact, I've gotten so many listings because what I did is I positioned the next person that was coming into the home because I knew they weren't going to be prepared to be hit with a question that they couldn't answer that made me look better than them. And that's exactly what Matt Damon did in the movie. He said, be cautious when you hear this. Be cautious when you hear that. And she was. If he hadn't said that, it would have never triggered. But because he said it, it triggered. We can use future things that we know that are going to occur to get people's mindset in the mindset that you want them to be in and to be cautious. Or in terms of you should be happy when you see this, right? Like we can position the mindset of the future certain ways based on what we're telling them that will occur. If this occurs, it's great, you should be happy. And then it occurs and someone's happy. If this happens, just be cautious because of this and that. We're planting a seed that if this comes about, which we believe it will, it should trigger an emotion in you. And we can do this in our practice in real estate. We can do this in lending. That's what the great salespeople do. They look at the current position they're in, and then they look at what somebody is going to be doing, and they find ways to create future triggers by foreshadowing what is about to occur. Think about that and start utilizing this in your practice. I guarantee you, you get better results and people to take the actions that you want to take even more when you start thinking like that. Thanks.